All right, how's everyone doing? I'm Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. I got my co-host, Robert Benenati.
Hello, everyone.
So we just did a previous podcast on if we think the real estate market is going to crash in Florida. So I'm going to do a follow-up here with him because I think a lot of people want to know the answer to this question, or at least understand the process of it. When it comes to flipping houses. So Robert flips houses like a lot of other people to a certain degree out there, but I don't think they're as successful as he is. And one of the reasons I say that is because I think the way he goes about it is very strategic, I guess you could say, Robert, wouldn't you say, kind of, because you've been doing this for so long? You don't get damaged a lot. I think a lot more people think they're going to do better than they do.
Well, it just depends on if you do your homework. Where did you acquire your knowledge and your experience? You know, if you're watching HGTV shows and you're trying to just do that, then yeah, you're probably going to get hurt. There's a higher chance that you do.
Yeah.
I have a construction background.
Yeah.
Not because I was in construction, but my dad was a contractor, and I grew up in that. So let's just say I have a different set of eyes when it comes to homes. So even as a real estate broker working with clients, when I go into a home, I just don't look at the prettiness of the home. I'm looking at, structural. I'm looking for water damage and wood rot. I'm looking for anything that might pop out to me and bring it to light, and tell the buyers, look, I think this or that, let's keep an eye on that. Obviously, if you want to move forward, let's go. We'll get an inspection and just make sure that everything, looks good. So that's worked out for me when it comes to working with clients. So my service is a little different. With that being said, same thing happens with flipping homes and choosing a home. So for me, the uglier the house, the better it is.
Right.
For me.
Are you kind of saying the smaller the home in the best location is the most damage, kind of too? You know how a lot of people are always like, we always hear that.
Any home in a good location, you're going to rent out.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, knowing your communities, knowing where you're buying, the type of buyers you're going to get at the end of that. Who's going to come and make offers and what's your clientele going to look like. Is going to depend on how fast you're going to sell the property after you flip, after you renovate it. There's a lot to...
What do you think one of the most important thing is when you're, say, flipping a home? So actually, let's just start from the beginning here. Because I think a lot of people think the best way to find a flip is to a foreclosure. Is that the process you go through? Or because you're in the real estate industry, people come to you with something?
Yeah,
or...
I have a lot of different sources of how I obtain homes, and some are foreclosed homes, short sales.
Yeah.
Wholesalers that I know. Other agents that I've worked with.
Okay.
That might... if it's a pocket listing, they might call me before they even list it. So I've had different sources of...
Say you're not you, and you're like most people out there who have to find a flip, let's say.
Okay.
Like we were kind of goofing around discussing, like overall, what do you think they should really look for? A great schooling area, if it's a family-oriented place, or let's say you're in South Florida, so it's more of a condominium type flip.
First thing I would do is go find yourself a realtor that knows the area, that knows what he's doing.
So you think buying a flip, not a Frisbo or not a foreclosure, but going through a realtor is your safest bet?
It's at least at the beginning. There's a lot of I've seen a lot of videos out there on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and whatnot, saying go get your real estate license. This way you could keep your commission. Yeah, it's a good idea if you know what you're doing, right? As an agent, number one, and there's cost to having your license, right? Activated and having the MLS and all that. There's fees you have to pay. It's a good idea if you know what you're doing and location and where you're buying. But if you're new and you're not sure, I would say team up with an agent.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely that agent only wants his or her commission,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine. You just work out the numbers and work it off the top of the number when you make an offer on that property. So they're going to tell you this house is worth renovated. So you want to work backwards. When you look at a house or it's offered to you, you immediately want to compare that home to the last home sold that looks like that has been renovated. Right?
Gotcha.
Okay, so you take that number, you subtract what you want to offer, you end up with X number,
Mm-hmm.
and that number, you take away how much you're planning on investing. And that's the other thing. You have to know what you're going to invest between materials and labor, and you're going to end up with a number. And that's probably going to be your profit.
Okay.
Right? So this is the way you're going to know what you're planning on offering.
Gotcha.
Someone. So I work backwards. I do, okay, so this house completed is going to be worth $250,000, right? Mm-hmm. The first thing I do is figure out how much I think I'm going to spend in it, right? So number's sake, let's just say $25,000.
Let's put it. I want to ask you a real quick question before you get in. Is there a certain percentage you will have to say I'm going to depending obviously on the home or the condo or the townhome? Is there a percentage to say I'm only going to spend or I'm only going to put in 20% into this home? Because you can go on forever. You're like, I'm only going to do kitchen and I'm only going to do bathrooms. I'm just saying, or I'm only going to do this, or I'm only going to put a new roof. Or
I honestly I don't work with percentages.
Okay.
I don't
more
know.
Instinctual, like to say, you know what, I think the kitchen needs work and I think the garage does.
I know where I'm going to put my money in and what makes sense to some properties you need to gut it, and you're talking about, floors and wall finishes and tiles and bathrooms and kitchen and roof and plumbing, and I mean, it just depends, right?
Gotcha.
So that's when and don't cut corners, that's one thing. If you're going to do a product, you'll get your money out. As long as you did numbers from what you think the property is going to be worth to sell,
Mm-hmm.
How much to do the job correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 40,000? Is it 50,000? Right? How much do you want to make? That's the next thing
be realistic.
I did, yeah. And I say, okay, I want to make 40,000 on, 40,000.
You're not out to gouge anybody either. You're not being unrealistic, saying I'm going to overprice it or I'm not going to.
No.
If anything, do you want to stay exactly where what sold last in that area, or are you going to go a little underneath so it does have a better shot at selling quicker?
No, I actually push the market.
Okay.
I actually go above, at or slightly above, slightly. So let's just say the last home sold for $250.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the pictures and see how that one compares to my home. Right?
Gotcha.
So let's say they renovated, they did the same thing, floors, kitchen, countertops, bathrooms, and it looks really nice, painted the exterior, landscaping. And I did the same, and they sold, let's just say, 2 months ago. The next thing I look at is what's on the market.
Gotcha.
So let's say they sold for $250, beautiful house. There's 2 other homes on the market, similar but not renovated, and they want $250 because that one sold, and they think their home is worth $250. I could go in at $255, $260.
Well, it's usually going to be in better condition now because you made the upgrades as well, most likely.
Well,
a lot of times.
I'm comparing it. I'm using the comparison of the last one that was upgraded, right?
Gotcha.
With my home that is upgraded, but that one sold 2 months ago, so there's some gap of time. If that one sold last week for $250, I'm going to stay very close to that, right?
Gotcha.
But let's say that one sold 2 months ago. Now there's 2 other homes on the market active that have not been upgraded. Has the same square footage, same amount of rooms, and they have it active on the market for $250,000 just because the other one sold, and they think, oh well, if they sold for $250, I can sell for $250. I might go in and list mine at $259,900, let's say $260, because now I'm telling buyers, well, what do you want? $250, right? These 2 homes on the market for $250 that are not renovated, or $260 renovated.
Gotcha.
Right? So I use that and I push the market a little bit. So, but I'm very fair. I try to stay within. I'm not going to go 280 just because my house, is new and whatnot.
When flipping, do you think it's more important the curb appeal or the interior?
Both.
You think they have to both really?
Yes, I'm very keen on both. I would actually leave the backyard if I can't get to the backyard and resod or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I would leave that alone, let's say. But the curb appeal, landscaping up front is the first thing. People judge by the cover.
Right.
And as soon as they walk in, that's number one. The second thing is as soon as they open that door, it's got to look new.
All right, let's put this next. Would you invest in flooring as far as, well, if it's destroyed, but if it's hardwood or carpet, or would you invest more in a kitchen? I understand every home needs improvements usually a lot of times if you're going to flip. Maybe not. But I'm saying, where do you usually put the core of your investment besides if something's damaged? So say it's, there's no roof damage. You don't need a roof. You don't really need anything exterior. Maybe a paint job. I don't know. But what are you going to really look at? You hear the kitchen for the woman, and then you hear the garage for the man, and then you hear the bathrooms, or you hear the closet. Where do you really think helps the most when selling your home, like in a flip situation?
Well, obviously kitchen and bathrooms are number one. Second, I would say flooring.
Mm-hmm.
Walls and paint is cheap.
Yeah.
It's not. You're going to have to do it anyway.
Right.
And I would recommend you do. So give it a fresh coat of paint. It's inexpensive. But the bulk of your money is going to go in a few things. I would never cut corners on a job. So meaning if I'm doing kitchen
mm-hmm.
and I gut the kitchen,
yeah,
I would change most of the plumbing. Talking
Gotcha.
from the valves, make sure they close, that they open, because when they're old, they could start leaking. So
Sure.
I'm not going to hand over a home that might have potential issues.
Sure.
So, and I consider that in my price. I consider that in my expenditure, right?
Right.
So, but definitely kitchen, appliances, water heater, AC. Make sure the AC is, especially here in Florida, right?
Right.
If it's new, it's good. I have it serviced and cleaned.
Gotcha.
So those are the main things, and it's the things I look at a family starting,
mm-hmm.
and they come to this home and they're going to buy it from me. I don't want anything breaking down within the next month, and they have no money to fix it.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you want them for a future client even, right? Because you're a realtor. So you're maybe looking at it different than someone else.
I never dealt usually with the buyers
right.
because they've been brought by other realtors.
Right.
But what I do, regardless of what it is I'm proud of the product I put out.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I don't want a family, even with kids or older people in the house, and they have issues with the water heater, with the plumbing. That's something. No. So I definitely look at, again, to answer your question, kitchen, bathroom, plumbing, electric, flooring, AC, and water heater.
Nice.
Those are my core.
Gotcha.
Then from there, I go on to the simple things, the doors, the knobs to all the doors to make them match.
Sure.
The handles on the pulls and the knobs on the cabinets, and the minor details.
Right.
Right. But I always look at the core.
Nice. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. We're 2% on my computer, as a matter of fact. So this is nice, perfect timing here.
All right, perfect.
All right, we were going to get into maybe Airbnb stuff, but
that's part 2 or just another episode.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. There's all legalities and stuff to that as well, right? So that's a whole different process, especially we're kind of just talking about flipping, buying, and selling. Wrap it up with this last thing. How long do you usually look at the process from beginning to end? I know each one's different, but do you like 3 months, 6 months?
I give myself 3 months.
3 months from the beginning to the end.
30 days to renovate, give myself 30 days to market, and then 30 days to close.
That's
so
awesome.
I give my 90 days.
That's very informative. Awesome, my man. So hopefully that'll help you guys out if you're thinking of flipping. You want to tell him where you're at? He's in Orlando.
I'm in Orlando, Florida. You can find me on all the social media as 365 Realty Inc. or just 365 Realty or my name, Robert Benenati. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, when it comes to real estate or flipping.
Yeah. I think what you said works in all over North America. It's not just for Florida, obviously.
Before we leave, one note I want to say is one of the big mistakes that new flippers do is overpay for homes.
Yeah,
just
for sure.
because they're so anxious to get a home and start the process.
Right.
So I would say don't do that because it's not going to be fun at the end of it.
Right. All right, that's all we got for you today. Take care.
All right.